Yes?
I am recording. There we
Yep.
go.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, awesome. We can start then. Hello everyone. Happy Friday. This is going to be our uh one of the one of the last Discord announcements before Mainnet. So we have a lot to cover. So we're mostly going to be talking about the airdrop redemption portal and the KYC process, since a lot of you have had questions around that. So let's just kind of dive into it. So I think I want to first kind of walk over the intent of the testnet and what we really wanted to see from our users and how we want to reward our community. The intent for the Ironfish testnet was to get as many people involved as possible and to really, expand the Ironfish ecosystem and community, so we can have decentralization and people participating from all around the world. So we did talk about kind of a banning strategy earlier in the week, and we heard a lot of feedback from you guys that the banning strategy was a little too aggressive, and so some people that were honest users that tried to use the testnet in an honest way were being impacted by that. So we are going to be loosening some of the queries to determine eligibility for the airdrop. So we heard your feedback. We're definitely acting upon it to make sure that the airdrop is more fair. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is, if we find a cluster of spammers or of users that have less than 10 accounts, we will not ban them. If we definitely see, one user create like a ton of accounts, we are still going to ban them. So we're trying to kind of adhere to the ethos of the testnet, which is, if we clearly see that a person has been really abusing the system, then we're going to ban them. If we see that a person has tried to be honest, then we're going to be more lenient. So that's kind of our thought process there. And Jason, did you want to say anything more about the filtering process?
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of like repeat maybe some of the same things. Like, obviously, the community has asked for this. Really, we want to make sure that the response we provide is something that the community will be happy with, not just now, but also like afterwards, right? So what that means is we want people to say, Ironfish listened, Ironfish kind of protected us from civil actors, and they generally provided like an acceptable response and kind of got rid of the people who were not acting kind of honorably. And unfortunately, I would say we are seeing a lot of those people kind of start to become inflammatory in our Discord. And one thing that we love about our community is that they're incredibly, they're just helpful, they're friendly. We foster like an incredibly like kind community of people who really, really care about crypto. And it's obviously a little frustrating to see that, these people, they're unhappy with the banning, and they're kind of sometimes lashing out. So I would say just don't engage with those users. Like, we're taking care of them, we're responding to their tickets, but please just obviously try not to start arguments in like the Discord channels with them. And otherwise, we're gonna kind of continue the effort, and we really are excited for you to kind of get your airdrop.
Awesome. Cool. And with that, I'm actually going to hand it over to Joe, who's going to be talking more about the KYC process in general.
Yep. Thank you, Elena. So the big question that everyone has been asking is, when can I KYC? That depends on which phases you participated in. Currently, up until today, actually, we had only been allowing people who are doing pull requests to KYC. And a pull request is when you contribute code to the Ironfish code base. There was a very small subset of users that did that, around 50. But now today we actually have opened it to anyone who participated in phase 1. So if you have points in phase 1, you are now eligible to try out KYC. Well, we're actively working on this. We see that there are some issues popping up. Please, if you do have an issue, go to the KYC support channel. And if there is a problem with your KYC process, open a ticket with /open and a reason that you opened that ticket. So let's say /open KYC failed because of invalid ID, something of that sort. And we'll go through those tickets and we'll support each of you as things happen. We'll make broader announcements if there's big changes that are happening. For people who didn't participate in phase one, the question is when can I KYC? And you should watch the announcements channel. We will post announcements on that channel when you will be available to KYC. You will not receive an email. There may have been some discussion around this, but the only way that you'll be receiving notifications is via the announcements channel in Discord. You will also see on the dashboards page of the Testnet website, if you go to the Testnet, click on your profile, you'll see a button there to start KYC if you're eligible. If you're not eligible currently, there will be some textual message saying that you're not ready yet to KYC. Please check back later. And you should just check in the announcements channel for when you can KYC. Jason's going to talk a little bit more about KYC and then a couple other topics as well.
Yeah, so a lot of people have been asking, what do I need to kind of go into the KYC process? So there are three types of documents we support, right? So there's basically what you're going to need is an ID or a driver's license or a passport. What we've kind of started to find actually is that certain kind of documents that are special case, unfortunately, are not supported by a provider. Some of those documents are overseas Indian citizen passports, and there are special cases that we're discovering now, like Chilean passports are not supported, but Chilean driver's licenses are supported. So unfortunately, we can't be incredibly specific about what you're going to need. It's important for essentially, if you have them, just have all three available when you start the process. What does the process look like? You'll have 3 attempts. So if you start the KYC process, realize you don't properly have the documents, you will have another 2 attempts. And for special cases, we'll potentially allow people to kind of perform maybe like a 4th if there's an issue on our side causing it. I think the other big question is a lot of people are asking, so when you do the KYC process, you must enter your public address into the KYC process. And people are kind of confused by that because a lot of people took down their VPSs and they stopped running their node and they said, well, I just don't have access to my node anymore. Well, how do I get my public address? Your public address is the address that belongs to your wallet. If you exported your wallet, that is not your public address. And please do not post that anywhere. Imagine that is the password to access and send all of your iron. If you do post that somewhere, including our forum, that is very bad. What you want to do is post the address. You need to install the Ironfish node. You need to import your wallet or create a new one. And you need to use Ironfish wallet address command. This will give you your public address, which is kind of like your bank account for people that can send you money. It's very, very, very important that you also secure this account as well and back it up. If you enter a public address and you lose your wallet, there is nothing we can do. We are not going to help you. That's why it is so important. Write it down. Put it in a secure digital location. Make sure you do not lose this wallet. It's incredibly important. We cannot stress this enough. But I think the remaining question is that people get confused by is there a difference between a testnet wallet and is there a difference between a mainnet wallet? There is no difference between a testnet and a mainnet wallet. They are actually the same thing. So it is perfectly fine for you to use your testnet wallet as long as you have secured and backed it up. You also can create that wallet on the testnet now, and that address is still valid for mainnet. I would just remember to stress, keep your wallet secure, keep your wallet backed up. You know, these are like the most important things you can do as an Ironfish user. I think that's all the kind of main questions the main questions that people have kind of around that. So also when we do open up KYC, Joe mentioned this, you're going to see a button in your KYC portal. So that is how you'll know that you can begin doing KYC, and it's unlocked for you. I'm going to talk about tokenomics as well. I think a lot of people in the community are saying, hey, Ironfish, you're launching in a few days and we don't have access to your tokenomics. Well, we're working on that right now. And actually, some of our tokenomics are already available. I'm going to post it in the chat right now. So you can basically see our coin emission curve as well as other kind of tokenomics related to mining. But we are still working on putting out a document with a breakdown of tokenomics. If you don't know what this is, if you're first time hearing this word, essentially the question is, in the Genesis block, what's the breakdown of the Genesis block and who gets what? So we are working on putting out a public document for that with some nice charts. So just keep an eye on announcements. Obviously, when we have that information ready, we'll put that out to the public. I actually think there's some interesting mining things happening in the community, so I'm going to pass it off to Derek to talk about some of the mining activity.
All right, there we go. Unmuted. Yeah, there's been a bunch of stuff going on in the mining channel. I've been following that for the past few days, and the mining pool channel to an extent. A lot of people are working on developing miners or supporting different pools for Mainnet. So there's a couple people I've seen pop up quite a bit recently. Zoranox is one. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. They've been doing some independent work on developing like a GPU miner that would run against the Ironfish pool. Not sure yet if that's going to be released or not, but we've also been trying out a bunch of the other miners that have been adding support for Ironfish as well. SRB miner is one. I think in version 2.2 they added support for the built-in Ironfish pool. So if you did want to like solo mine using a GPU, that's the only way currently available. Other than that, I've heard that BZ Miner is going to add support for GPU mining and might be a little better, and I think that'll be out Monday. ZK Work is a pool on Ironfish that's planning to start testing this weekend. I believe that Hpool is planning to run on Mainnet as well, but I haven't heard any news as far as what their plans are there yet. We're going to be running a pool on pool.ironfish.network. Some of you might remember that from the testnet, but just to be clear there, our priority is going to be on like developing the chain. So we can't really guarantee stability or performance of that. More just a community service for anybody who wants to try it out. Once we launch, I'd like to put a doc together for how to upgrade from the version 0.1.71 to 1.0, just so it's clear how to go from one to the other, especially since some people will have generated accounts on the previous version, 0.1.71, for the purpose of submitting for the airdrop process. So the one other thing I want to mention for now is that when you start your node and mainnet launches, if you do plan on mining, we would love it if you could run -- force mining. When block times are longer than 1 hour between blocks, and for the second Genesis block, that'll make sure that your miner stays mining and doesn't pause. So I apologize if I forgot anybody, but those are some of the highlights I've seen from the mining channel recently. I recommend taking a peek in there. It'll probably be out of date in a day or two after sharing this, but there's a lot of stuff going on, so it's pretty cool to see. I'm not sure who's next up, but you take a peek at the back and hand it off.
Yeah. So one thing, we're kind of reaching mainnet here, and a lot of people are starting to integrate into our kind of Ironfish SDK essentially in our blockchain as a whole. I noticed there's a lot more activity in the developers channel, so I wanted Rohan to get a chance to talk about all the efforts going on there.
Yeah, I can speak to some of the updates we have for developers. So if you actually go onto our website now, you'll see a couple new pages for documentation. The first biggest thing we've added is a whole page for ArcBC documentation. So there's an API reference that will list out commands on how to interact with our chain, our wallet, your node configuration, and any other things. So if you want to programmatically get some data or interact with your node, there's some documentation that'll describe all the request and response patterns there. The other big thing that we've recently added is a documentation page on offline transaction signing. So if you're not familiar with this, offline transactions allow you to basically create an account on your wallet and still send and receive transactions, and the machine can be disconnected from the internet. So if you want to be really secure when you're like sending or receiving money, there's like a whole page under our onboarding section that'll kind of walk you through how exactly to do that. The other update is we recently merged in an HTTP adapter that wraps on top of our RPC layer on our node. So if you want to interact with our node using HTTP, that's going to be coming out pretty soon, and we're going to also upload some steps for integration and documentation on our website for that. Okay, cool. I think Daniel is up next to talk about some of the trusted setup, so I'll hand it off to him.
Yeah, thanks, Rohan. So since the last Discord update, we've completed the trusted setup ceremony. We had over 8,500 contributions, which is amazing. I think that is the most that I've seen in a trusted setup so far. There are a few ongoing ones that may have more than that, but for a completed trusted setup. So thank you everyone who participated. That was just great to see. And we have the final parameters from that trusted setup merged into our GitHub. So those are available. I'll post a link in the chat. And if you saved your contribution hash, you can download that code and run it to verify that your contribution made it in there. But yeah, overall, very successful. So thank you for everyone who participated.
Yeah, I'm going to give Meg a chance to talk about, like, obviously we're very close to Mainnet, so love to hear from her.
Yes, we are so excited for Mainnet. I can't believe that it's 4 days away. I know that everyone in the community is really stoked. We see the increased engagement on Discord. We see it on Twitter. We're seeing really great videos come in from the contest that we're running, the tutorial contest, along with some amazing GIFs. I saw the one with the neon fish earlier today. Love that. And so on Mainnet, as we've discussed a bit, we will be hosting a launch, like a virtual launch party on YouTube Live. The party itself will be at 11 Pacific Daylight Time in the morning, and then that's like about 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and then you can extrapolate from there. A bunch of us are going to be in the San Francisco office. We'll have pie. We're going to get balloons. It's going to be great. Please join the party on YouTube if you can. The link is on our YouTube website right now, as well as all over Twitter, and we're going to keep posting it. Grab some pie, join in, ask questions in chat, celebrate. If you can't make it, that's okay. The live will go up on our YouTube channel, just like all our others have, so you can always watch it later. And we'll be on Twitter, we'll be on Discord. The whole day is just going to be really energized. And we're really looking forward to celebrating this with the community. This year, y'all are our foundation. You got us here, so really looking forward to it. Please continue to ask questions, about it in Discord, on Twitter. If you are going to host your own party locally, post an outreach. Let us know. We want to see pictures. We want to know what y'all are up to. So that is kind of the overview. And then, as I said, I'm available, ask questions. I can give some specifics as we go.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, just to reiterate that, we are very few days away from Mainnet launch. KYC phase 1 is happening right now. We're going to be providing support. Please be patient. There are only a few of us and hundreds of tickets. So we're kind of working our way through KYC, opening it up for phase 1 now, phase 2 pretty soon. Also, we're increasing our support for development. We are also obviously just finished up trusted setup. There's a lot going on right now, but we're really, really excited and super happy that you could be here. So please join our launch party on Tuesday when we launch. And I think that's it. I think this has actually been like a really tight thing. I mean, most of the team's going to stick around and provide KYC support. So if you have any questions, just feel free. Have a great day.